It's like I don't care about nothing, man. Yeah. Oh,
What's going on, guys? This video is all about isosceles triangles. So when you have an isosceles triangle, by the end of this video, you will know that two sides have to be congruent. You'll also know that two angles have to be congruent. And this is going to help you set up and solve the problems we're going to do. So I hope you enjoy. All right, so the moment that you have all been waiting for, we get to talk about isosceles triangles. Now,
Just eat it. God, I hate it. I don't care whether you hate it. You said you'd do it. All right.
on isosceles triangle, we have these four things that I want you to for sure know. First one says the two congruent sides are called legs. So the sides that have these dashes, they are equal to each other, and we call them legs. You could say if you don't know this, you don't have any legs to stand on.
Boo! You stink!
Now the next one says the angle where the sides intersect is called the vertex angle. So intersect means where they meet. So they meet at angle B. This would be your vertex angle. Now the side opposite the vertex angle is called the base. So when we say opposite, we mean across. So down here, it's all about that base. About that base. No trouble.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
The angles doing the base, or along the base, I mean, are called the base angles. So these angles down here will be called the base angles, and they will be congruent. So I'm going to say angle 2 and angle 3. Those are our base angles, and they are congruent. So down here we have the isosceles triangle theorem. Theorem just means a rule. So if you need to write that for yourself, just remember that a theorem is a rule. The rule states that if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite those sides are congruent. So I'm going to say if AB, so line segment AB, is equal to line segment BC, then angle A is equal to angle C. And then the converse statement is the exact same statement, except we flip the order of what it says. So what we're going to say is, in this one, if angle A is equal to angle C, then AB is equal to BC. Okay, so number one wants us to solve for the missing variable. So they tell us that we have two angles congruent. If we have two angles congruent, we also have two sides that are going to be congruent. So up here it talked about across from the angle are the ones that are going to be equal. So across from it is this side, and across from this one is this side. So these two sides are congruent. So based on that, well, I'm going to write here so we know why we're doing this. If base angles are congruent, then legs are congruent. So when we do this, what we have is 15x plus 7 equals 23x minus 17. So when we do this, we are going to subtract 15x from both sides. When I do that, it'll cancel out over here, and you're left with 7 equals 8x minus 17. I want to get my x by itself, so I am going to add 17 to both sides. And 24 equals 8x. Divide by 8 and x equals 3. So your answer for this one is 3. Now for this one, since it only wanted you to find the missing variable, you do not actually have to plug it back in. All right, so now we're looking at number 2. Number 2 shows that you have two sides that are congruent. So if you have two sides are congruent, you also have two angles that are congruent. And again, you can just find out which one by going across from the congruent sides that you have. So since they are congruent, what I'm going to write up here so we know what to do is if legs are congruent, then base angles are congruent. Oh my goodness, it almost looks like this is the converse statement of the problem we did just before. Huh, I wonder if we did that on purpose. Huh.
Hey! Wow.
Who knows? Let's go ahead and keep going. So we have 5x plus 9. Since they are congruent, we know that they're supposed to be equal. So I'm going to put an equal sign and use the other equation, 8x minus 30. Now we can go ahead and solve for x. I'm going to start off by subtracting 5x from both sides. Now you did not have to start out that way, but this is just how I decided to do it. So on the left side you have 9 equals 3x minus 30. I'm going to add 30 to both sides now. And you get 39 equals 3x. Divide by 3. And x equals 13. So, just like the one before, this one doesn't say to plug it in. So, we do not have to be like Glade. We don't have to plug it in, plug it in. Okay, so number 5 on page 11 is a word problem. It says if triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle with line segment AB being congruent to BC, and if AB is 3x plus 41, BC is 8x minus 54, AC is 12x minus 103, find x and the measure of each side. So whenever you have a word problem, what do you think is going to be the thing I tell you to do? Teach. Star student, back again. Now, I would, if I saw a word problem, draw it out first. And since it said we're dealing with an isosceles triangle, I'm going to draw that kind of triangle. So that means like 2 of the sides will be congruent, and so are 2 of the angles. Yeah. You know, I really like the way that student thinks. So I'm going to go ahead and like he told me to do, let's draw it out. So I'm going to draw a triangle that's going to be isosceles. Now, I want to make the vertices A, B, and C. And he did tell me if it's isosceles, 2 of the sides will be equal. So they told me AB and BC are congruent, so I'll make those ones be my equal ones. And they don't talk about the angles, but that student was right. 2 of the angles have to be congruent. So the one thing he didn't mention that I'm going to mention is that you want to also label each sides. So this side would be 3x plus 41. This side is going to be 8x minus 54. And this side will be 12x minus 103. So what do we want to do now? Because we want to solve for x, so how can we do that? Hey, yo, look, coach, this is what I'm thinking. This is thinking. Big brain. I'm thinking that we want to take the two sides that are supposed to be congruent, AB and BC, set them equal. Yeah, let's try that. Try it. You know, I'm starting to think this student has done this before. So let's go ahead and do what he says. We're going to do 3x plus 41 equals 8x minus 54. So those are the two sides that are congruent, so we set them equal. So I am now going to subtract 3x from both sides. Whoops. When I do that, I have 41 on the left equals 5x minus 54. Add 54 to both sides. And you get 95 equals 5x. Divide 5 to both sides. And we get 19 equals x. So x is equal to 19. So now that we know that, let's just go ahead and plug them into each one to see if we got the correct answer. So we got 3x plus 41. Instead of x, we are now going to put 19. So 3 times 19 gives me 57. Plus 41 equals 98. So the 3x was for line segment AB. So for AB, I got 98. So let's do BC. Now BC is supposed to be congruent, so hopefully I get the same answer. So 8, instead of x, I'm going to put 19. So 8 times 19 minus 54. 8 times 19 is 152 minus 54. And when I do that, I get 98. So this side was also 98 units. Now the last one is on the bottom. We have 12x minus 103. Instead of x, though, we have 19. So 12 times 19 minus 103. 12 times 19 is 228. So 228 minus 103. And that gets me 125. So this side would be 125 units. So that's the end of another video. So you got to do a couple examples with isosceles triangle. So you had ones where the picture was already drawn for you and you had to use your knowledge about isosceles triangle. The other one, just like that student had said, very smart student by the way, good looking as well.
Right.
He had said, whenever you have a word problem, draw it out. Always make sure you do that. Now, any problems that was on the isosceles triangles that we did not go over is extra practice for you. So make sure you're practicing so you are prepared for the test.